Oh my gosh, you're here.
Welcome to My Chatbot Life, where chatbot marketers share high converting strategies in this new conversational marketplace. Each week, MKJ introduces you to bot builders who are just like you, a little techie, a little markety, and a whole lot of geeky. Buckle up as Chatbot Mom enjoys another journey into My Chatbot Life.
Hey there, My Chatbot Lifers. Guess who? MKJ. I am welcoming you to this show. Thank you so much for joining me. I so hope you are enjoying these conversations because some of these people are bringing, all of them actually, are bringing incredible value to our chatbot world, and they're kind of making our chatbot lives a little easier in doing so. And this next person is no exception to that rule. He is Mr. Matt Plapp, and he is of ROI Engine. He does incredible things for restaurants and bots and has an incredible community that is out in this world helping restaurants market themselves easier and with so much higher ROI. So I met Matt. I actually haven't met him in person. I've only been on the outskirts of him, but I kind of friended him, and he was he was funny when he asked when he accepted my friend request on Facebook. He's like, so how do we know each other? And I said, we don't until now. Hopefully that's the point of the friend request in Facebook, is to get to know each other. And so now we have been. We've had a couple of chats, and he's even allowed me to kind of steal one of his secret weapons in his business. And I'll just leave that one alone and let you stew on it for a little bit and see if it comes up in this conversation. So enjoy, sit back, enjoy, put your earbuds in, and hang on, because Matt and I are going to take you on a wild roller coaster ride in My Chatbot Life. I get to chat today with someone I just recently met. You know, it was really funny. I reached out to this guy as a friend request in Facebook, and he accepted it. But his first question back to me is, how do we know each other? And I was like, dude, we don't yet. Let's figure this out. So meet Mr. Matt Plapp. Hey there, Matt.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you betcha. I'm really excited. I just loved your energy. I love your personality, your sense of humor, and just wanted to reach out a couple of months ago and say hi, and I'm really glad we did. We've had some good conversations, and I know we're going to have another good one now, because we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some different territories that people don't usually talk about with chatbots. But before we get all that stuff done, I kind of heard about this a little bit when you and I chatted and got to know each other. But tell the audience, what was your actual job right before you started diving into chatbots? What were you doing for a living?
Well, I've had this agency for 11 years. So agency owner. And I was at Trafficking Conversions in 2017 and heard Molly Pittman on stage talking about how Ezra Firestone had showed her something really cool in this thing called Mini Chat, and that took me onto it. But like my agency at that point, we had, 30 to 35 clients. We were doing a lot of social media. I had a restaurant program that was revolved around texting and email, and it was really successful, except for the fact that when you get 18,000 people into a customer's texting database in 60 days, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it drove sales, but it also drove a really high texting bill. And so that's where we went to message bots. And then before that, my background, I've owned an RV and boat dealership for 10 years. And I also worked in radio advertising.
Wow. So what was it? So basically you just hinted to the fact that obviously you can reach people in a very similar way to texting by using chatbots for a lot less money. But what specifically attracted you to bots? I mean, what made it clear to you that that was the direction you needed to take?
I like the conversation aspect of it. You know, I openly say that I helped ruin email. I've been doing email since 1999. I actually tell this story that when I did one of my first emails back in 99, we had started our boat and RV dealership. I worked in radio for 4 years. And then this is kind of crazy, but we started a boat dealership online, had a website. I bought a book called Adobe Page Mill, how to build a website. I built it out and I started collecting emails. And so it reminded me of email in 99 because one of the first emails I sent out to about 600 people. Oh no, 1,000 people. It was a 1,000 person list. I remember that now. 600 replied. And I remember sitting there thinking, what am I doing with these replies? Like we sent out a promotional message And people are like, hey, do you have it in this color? Hey, do you have ATVs? Hey, do you have this? Because we had kind of branched the company out a little. We're putting out some feelers. And when I saw messenger bots, my agency started in '08. We started with Facebook, Facebook posting, email marketing, and then mass media consulting, helping people buy radio and TV, because that was my background. And when I got to a point in 2016, 17, you could see that, every year email took a dip. And one of the things I struggled with was no client I ran into had the assets I could work with to do email correctly. And I'll tell you what I mean is I had a music store. The guy had 4 locations and he had every division. He had the attorney that played the guitar. He had the guy that had a mullet that played in the rock band. He had the 21-year-old stoner who played in the rock band. He had the 16-year-old kid who was in band, and he had grandma who bought that kid's instrument. But they were all on the same list. And I remember talking to him and said, Bill, we've got to do something. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I can't send the same email to a grandma who buys a tuba for a 16-year-old as I do the guy that just did a line of coke at a backstage on a band. And it's a different conversation. And what I ran into, my goal when I realized this was to start segregating the list and figure it out. But it was just too hard, because when you got 10,000 people on a list and 8,000 don't open, now you just took your customers list all the way down. So it was a tough process. When I saw Messenger, it really hit me that, wow, I can ask questions and they respond instantly. People do it. We have a survey that when people redeem a promotion with one of our restaurants, it asks them 3 quick questions. And literally I'll watch it on my phone occasionally because I'll get the alert. And it goes like 30 people go through it like in seconds. And so that really intrigued me that we could have more intentional conversations.
So it sounded like you were one of those people in email that wasn't just spamming their list. You were one of those people that ruined email because you brought Messenger into your business, but you weren't one of the people who ruined email by just blasting and selling lists and doing crap that the rest of us who now don't even open our emails anymore got tired of.
Didn't break any rules, never sold lists, never did unsolicited. Probably did my fair share of bad emails, I'll be honest. I've done, at our peak, we were buying about $2.5 million a year in marketing and doing a lot of stuff for clients. And so it just got to a point where it wasn't even possible to do email correctly. Like my list, I've got a list of my own that's really fine tuned that gets 45 to 50% emails. You'll get a kick out of this. I quit doing a weekly bot to this list. I built this list in Messenger and did a weekly agency digest every week. I thought it was pretty good. Mm-hmm. The email was outperforming the bot. And so I took it off of the bot and I do a monthly recap in Messenger, a weekly recap in email, and they both do well. And it was funny. Somebody's like, let me get this right. You do mostly Messenger, but you quit sending us this message. Why? And I'm like, because you didn't engage in it.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. If you're not doing it, if it's not working, don't do it.
Yeah.
And so, I think I've messed up my fair share of emails. A lot of it, though, came down from a fact that just everybody's list was built incorrectly, except for e-com businesses. They knew what people bought.
Yeah.
Everybody I was dealing with was just one big list. And it was like, you can't have the same conversation with 30 different demographics.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, but I think what I'm hearing though is that you were trying to have that targeted conversation, even in email. And then because of that, because you knew that was valuable, you knew that you could speak to the right person with the right information in email. Then when Messenger came around, it was like a no-brainer. Of course you can speak to the right person with the right message. It makes it so much easier to have that conversation and bring it through to conversion so much faster. Wow, that's fantastic. So what, you've had your agency for a long time. Think back to the beginning of your agency and the growing pains that you had and the things that you had to kind of overcome. What was one of the biggest mindset shifts you had to make or mindset hurdles you had to overcome to help you create the success you've created now when you first started? And how did you do that?
Honestly, the biggest issue I've had, I still have. I feel guilty when I'm not working for clients, which is weird because I've got 12 people on my team. And so I was in California last week. I hosted a mastermind. I was out there for 5 days. Technically, I was working. I mean, it's weird because I've got three segment of clients. I've got the agencies we serve. I've got my restaurant clients, and we've got some traditional clients. And I always had, it's not as bad now, but 3-4 years ago, if I left and I was off a day or I was doing something, I had this perception that I was failing my clients by not working for them, that they were paying me to.
Yeah.
And that was something I had to get over. One thing that helped me a little was training my people better. I was always the know-it-all. I was always the one that knew everything. And I was scared to not teach them because I didn't want to teach them. I didn't want them to screw it up. And I finally just got to a point where, I think it was like 2016, Ashley, who's on my team, she's been with me for 8 years. She was my only employee from, 2010 or so is when she came on board till 2016. So for 7 years, she was the only employee. And she was, I don't want to say she was an elaborate secretary because she was a hell of a lot more than that. But I basically just pawned everything off on her that I didn't want to do. And I got to a point where I realized if we were going to grow correctly and I was going to get out of the way, I had to get her better training. I had to teach her. And I remember her first time, she brought this up the other day. My first Zap that I built for my restaurant marketing program was 78 steps long. And even Zapier. And it worked. But it was,
my gosh. How long did that take to go through to the end?
Oh God, it was 90 days. So it was back in with the program. Problem I had was the program I was using I was trying to make 3 things do they shouldn't do. It worked fine actually, except when you had to edit the Zap. And I remember calling Zap. I didn't know much about Zapier from how it worked. I just knew how to make it work. And I remember talking to one of the engineers of Zapier on the phone, and I said, "Hey, your system is just so slow. I can't get it to work." And he's like, "Sir, you realize I've not seen Zap over 10 to 15 steps." And so Ashley, when I had her in my office, I said, "Okay, your first step here is the next 6 months." And I got her hooked up because I'm in a program that Billie Jean has. I said, "You're going to go through Billie Jean's ad program. You're going to go through this. You're going to go through this mini chat course with a master course with digital marketer." So I had it all laid out. And I said, the first thing I'll start with is Zapier. And she later told me that because she sat in the office for 2 hours and watched me do this thing. And it was a pretty complex, high-level, complicated Zap. And I'm trying to teach somebody who's never seen Zapier. And so she apparently cried the whole way home. I'm going to get fired. I'm never going to do this. And so I ended up getting that Zap into like 3 Zaps that were 30-something a piece.
Yeah.
And then eventually changed it to where I moved away from using the software we were using and went to mini chat and got it down. Like now it's actually 3 steps.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing just in that short period of time, how quickly things are catching up and allowing us to do so many different things that we weren't really able to do very quickly before. But yeah, that kind of makes me, like you said, you mentioned, you started that whole story with when I got out of my way, when I got out of the way. Because really, if you're still in the day-to-day stuff and you are holding on to every piece for fear that someone's going to screw something up, you're not going to be able to grow at all like you want, or at least like most of us want. I used to say, "Oh yeah, no, I don't really want to grow that fast. I'm raising my kids and all that stuff." And that was true to a certain extent. But then it became bullshit. It really became bull pretty quick. It's like, no, you want to grow. You're just in your own way. And you're stopping yourself from doing it. So when you say in your own way, what made you finally offload?
What made me? Well, I realized the capacity. The first time was, it's taken 3 steps because back when I started the agency in, late 07, 08, 09, and up until I want to say it was the Thanksgiving of 09, it was the Plapp show. I was a sole proprietor. I hustled. I was fortunate that I had a well-known name in the industry because I had been around since 99. I had, numerous publications written on me about starting a boat dealership on the internet and selling boats across the country. And we did a lot of cool stuff. So people knew me. And so I was able to get clients quickly. I had, 20, 25 clients within a year and a half. And that's usually most people struggle, but I'm built for that. That's what I did. But I'll never forget it because every morning I would get up at 7 o'clock until about 10 o'clock. I would build stuff, emails, make social media posts, buy radio, do all that crap. Then I would go from 10 o'clock to typically 4 or 5 o'clock. I would be out with client meetings or prospecting or networking, BNI. And then I'd come home at 4 or 5 o'clock, have dinner, and then work till midnight and building out what we sold or what I sold. And my wife came to me the Thanksgiving of '09 and said, "Hey, do you need help?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I'm watching you and you're running hard." And I actually I introduced you to Facebook. I'm like, "Yeah, you did." And so I understand it. I'm sure you can teach me what you once said. And so she became the Tuesday, Thursday Facebook poster. And then within about 3 or 4 months, she became the Monday, Wednesday Facebook poster. Then she became the all 5 days. And then I was at a BNI meeting and I got to a point where email was a big clog because I was probably my own by 30 or 40 emails a week, designing, getting approved, getting deployed. And I stood up in BNI and said, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody. I don't care if they have any experience. All I want them to be able to use is a computer and have zero direction because I don't give direction." And this lady stood up and said, "My daughter Ashley just got laid off from her job as a legal assistant. She's 31 right now. So would that make her 23? She's 23 years old. She's computer savvy. She likes laying by the pool and she doesn't want to work anywhere really. She's kind of burnt out." I'm like, "Oh, I don't care where she works from." And so I went to her and met with her once. And then like 2 to 3 days later, emailed her and said, "Here's the constant contact login for 2 accounts. Here's the company colors. Look at their past templates. Here's the messaging for the email. Do something cool. Show me what you got." And within a couple hours, I had 2 emails back that were better than what I would have done. And I was like, "Whoa, this is pretty cool."
Done.
And so I hired her 5 hours a week, $10 an hour, and just said, "Work 5 hours a week and do these tasks." Well, then soon after that, I fired my wife because I could tell my wife was done with it. And we jokingly say that she retired.
Yeah.
And she was kind of done with it. And plus our kids were at an age where she didn't really want to mess with it. And so then Ashley would go from 5 hours to 10 hours, 10 hours, 15.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to a point where that kind of got to where we took on some part-timers in 2016. I said, "Ashley, I got an idea. I'm going to do I'm going to do an ad and I'm going to find 10 free employees." Where I did 60 days. I put it out there 100% free. I said, "Hey, I'm looking for 10 people that want to work for free for 60 days. Prove to me that you can do the job. 5 people will get a part-time job. I don't want college kids. I want adults that are married with kids that are looking for a side hustle." And it worked. I had 20 applications. We picked 6 people and 5 of them came on board. 4 of them still work for me. And when we did that, I said, "Ashley, here's what we got to do. I need you to write down everything you do on a spreadsheet," because we had never had it in one place, "and give it to me so we can divide this up and give it to them." And when she gave me this spreadsheet, I looked at this and I'm like, I call her, I'm like, "Ashley, what is this? This is what I do every day." I'm like, "There's no way." But yeah, I'm like, because at that time we had 45 car dealers.
Oh.
And so on top of 30 other clients. And so I never really, every time we would add a new client, new card, I'd just say, "Hey, we're doing ABC, do it."
Yeah, and she did it. Yeah.
And I was kind of the creative director, and she was the implementer. And once we got these part-timers, it was kind of funny with that. I guess I didn't tell her my plan. And she thought she was getting fired. And she's like, "What's going on? Like, what do I do now?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, "You gave everything I do to the 6 part-timers." I'm like, "Yeah, I know you're going to be doing cooler stuff." She's like, "Oh, I didn't know."
Yay.
I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
Gee, Matt, people usually can't read your mind. I know you want them to, but it's kind of tough.
Let's see how good you can read my mind. What is this?
It's a fist pump, I think. I don't know. Oh, geez. Okay, I got it. I was wondering why you were wearing that same shirt over the last couple of days. Now I know you've got multiples, or you just wear the same one.
Probably got 100 of them.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, but you know what? I got to say something. All right, everybody listening in the audience, don't do what Matt just said, in the sense that you will have an HR just time bomb. because you don't want to say, I don't want college students. I only want married, but you can't do that from the from the legal standpoint of hiring people.
And I guess in full disclosure, I didn't actually say that.
I know.
I built the post. Like, I remember a buddy of mine he told me he read it and he's like, dude, this is kind of cryptic, but who in their right mind would take this? And I said, who would take this is a 45-year-old woman with 2 kids at home,
yes,
who's tired of their husband, me, complaining about them buying a new purse. And she's like, I want my own money.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. From a former HR staffing person, which is what I used to do in a former life. Yeah, you can think that, you can want to organize your post that way, but don't actually use those words.
Don't actually say it. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do it. You get in big trouble.
I would never survive an HR manual in any company.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why you hire contractors, right? You don't have to worry about actual employees if that's the case. Making sure that you find the people that resonate, and you don't have to really worry about those things unless you actually bring them on as employees, which I just did this year, hiring employees. I don't know. We'll see. I love her to death. I love them to death. The number one, my senior project manager, is absolutely incredible. I would hire 10 of her if I could. If I could find 10 more of her. I'll tell you an industry for chatbots, especially if you really want to be good at copywriting in bots, is to hire actors. Starving actors, because they know how to wrap their brain around a character. And if you want to really know how to have someone be able to wrap their brain around your client's copy, your client's brand, hire an actor. I'm telling you.
I like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. So there's my tip of the day. All right. So you know what? Most of the time we learn so much from listening to people talk about their experiences. And I know that everyone in the audience is doing that, because you've been able to bring in obviously the successes that you've had and be able to talk about some of the things that you've done, but also some of the things that you had to overcome or change or flip around in your head in order to get that to happen. And one of the biggest things that I've heard everybody that I've ever mentored or been in a mastermind with, the biggest issue is offloading their work, is actually hiring someone to do it, because we all are, we're good at what we do. So how do we know we can trust the other person? And you really just got to do the best you can. Now, most people actually do give direction, which is a good thing. But obviously it's worked for you. Wow. I know you're not as far on in your life as I am, but imagine in the far, far future, when you get further in your life and someone's going to come up to you and go, Matt, I really want to write your memoirs. I want to write your autobiography. When someone writes your autobiography, what would the title of that book be?
Is this PG-13?
Yes, it is, please, sir.
I'm trying to think what it would be. Kind of was prepared for this a little. It would revolve around something joking, because I'm always cracking jokes. I'm a guy that the glass isn't half empty. It's 3/4 full. You're looking at it wrong. So it would be something about optimism and even having a good time. Almost every day I probably listen to the song by Joe Walsh, Life's Been Good to Me So Far. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I enjoy that song is, it's life's been good to me. It has been. And I think we all take for granted what we have, and that, what we complain about, people in other worlds would beg to have those complaints. But also the fact that the song says so far.
Yep.
Because a friend of mine pointed that out a few years ago. It's the only CD in my car, and it's a song I listen to pretty frequently. And this friend of mine pointed it out like 4 or 5 years ago on Facebook, because I share that picture all the time of the album cover, and said, life's been good to me so far. What's going to happen tomorrow? And I'm like, well, I live for today. I have fun today. I have fun. I go hard. That was one thing. I had my event in San Diego this past week, and a guy named Gerard Norman, who was there, in one of his posts thanking me for the event, because we had rented about $3-4 million house, had 10 of us staying in it. And when I went grocery shopping, I've been chronicled at my grocery shopping. I've been filmed like 5 times now grocery shopping for my events. And I'm like a 10-year-old with a credit card, because it's Fruit Loops and Swiss cake rolls and candy and cake. I almost bought cookie dough mix. I didn't. And then it's 2 carts full of alcohol and liquor. The funny thing is, I don't even drink, but I take care of the people around me.
Yeah.
And so his posts he made on Facebook was about, mentorship and leadership and helping and just giving back. But he's also like, I've never seen somebody as crazy as you. Because we were having a good time. We're driving down the strip of Mission Beach, jamming that new cowboy rap song that's out by Billy Ray Cyrus. And 2 of the guys hammered hanging out the window. You would have thought we were 21-year-old college kids. But always
So
have a
the
good.
optimistic. So here's your title: The Optimistic Party of Life.
There you go.
There you go.
Partying through life optimistically.
Yeah, exactly. So who would write that for you? Who do you think would be able to look at your life and write that book for you?
Well, my wife, let's see, we'll both be 43 this year. We've been together since we were 19. So she's had a front row seat. I think if somebody had to write it, though, and it was down the road, it'd probably be my daughter, because she sees, I can see she sees things a little differently.
Yeah.
She's got a little bit of me in her. But it could also be my dad. That's one thing. My dad and I are real close. We do a live every week called Fire with My Dad, where we talk about sales and business and coaching, because he's a sales coach. And we're identical. I mean, literally, it's scary. We could put a list together, and we had our boat dealership because we owned it together. And I'd be out of town for 2 weeks and come back in town, and he'd have his list. I'd have my list, and 9 out of the 10 would be identical. So he'd probably be pretty good at writing it.
Yeah, definitely. And so if they were going to, whoever writes this book, your dad, your daughter, your wife, what would they put in there as the quote that represents how you lived your life?
The quote of how I lived my life. I'd say life's been good.
So far. Yeah.
I think a lot of us take, and that's the reason I tell people this all the time. I own a gym as well, and I'll go to the gym some days and I'll see people in there just so negative. And I'm like, what is it? And it's something minute in their life.
Yeah.
Like, in the scheme of things, who cares? I remember I got in a car wreck back in 2008, and I had it for 3 months, the shiny silver 2-door sports Jaguar. Gorgeous. Badass.
Yeah.
James Bond car.
Yeah.
And the guy, I got rear-ended. 4-car pileup. I was the middle. The guy hit me. He was texting. The traffic jam literally bent the car in half.
Yeah.
And so we're standing up next to the car, and people are screaming and yelling at each other. And the cop pulls up, and he's like looking at everybody. He's like, who owns the Jag? Because he saw that was the one that was the worst. And I'm like, that's me. And he's like, what do you guys all own? They're like, oh, I own the minivan 4-up, and I own this. And he's like, this guy's car got bent in half, and he's sitting over here listening to music, having a good time. And I'm like, that's a car, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes. And when you've had situations like that, then you look at the world differently. You really do. It does, at least if you allow yourself. Because you're right. It's not, I mean, my second child, I was pregnant with my second son, my youngest, and 8 months pregnant, I fell and broke both my legs. And so I had casts up to the knee on both legs. I had to go through labor and delivery with casts. I had to care for my yeah, I know, you laugh. I laugh now. I didn't laugh then.
You were 8 months pregnant.
Yes.
I was thinking he was 8 months old. Holy crap.
No, I was 8 months pregnant. And think about, I mean, your wife said, how often do you have to go to the bathroom when you're in late term pregnancy?
Oh my gosh.
And all I had to get there was a walker, like, old ladies use when they go out on the town, right? So one hop on that damn thing and the floodgates are going to open. Yeah. So, I look back now and go, that's what made me start my first business. If I can get through that, and I had a toddler at the time, I had a 3-year-old at the time. So if I can get through that with my sense of humor intact, I can do anything. I can do anything. I didn't get those casts off. I didn't get the last cast off and could actually walk on my own 2 feet carrying my son until he was almost 2 months old.
Wow.
So you do what you got to do. You mean, little things like washing my hair, can't do that. Take a bath. Yeah, I'm going to drown trying to keep both legs out of the water. So yeah, I could laugh definitely at life. And I love the title of your book. I love that song. And I really enjoyed chatting with you like this. I so appreciate that you were able to, out of being tired and having a fun day, being able to share some time with us. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate the conversation. And now I know not to mess with you, because if you could handle a baby with 2 broken legs, I need to stay clear.
Let me tell you, you don't mess with, I definitely, I've got a reputation, and I live up to it. If I didn't try and create it myself, I don't know.
There you go.
Thanks for listening to the My Chatbot Life podcast. To watch this video chat, visit mychatbotlife.com and get all the rocket boosters you need for your own chatbot success.